Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about something that might sound a little counterintuitive at first, but trust me, it really works when it comes to relationships, creating space and pulling back. Ha! You heard that right. If you've ever wondered why giving someone space can actually make them more attracted to you, you're in for a treat. In today's world, we're constantly connected. Thanks to smartphones, social media, and instant messaging, we've created this idea that to maintain a healthy relationship, we must be in constant communication. We're expected to be texting all day, responding to every message immediately, always being available for a call or a hangout. This constant presence seems like the formula for building a connection, right? But what if I told you that pulling back a little and creating space could actually make the connection stronger? It may sound crazy, but it works. Relationships are about balance, and sometimes the key to attraction is not being right in front of someone all the time. Instead, it's about allowing the other person to miss you, wonder about you, and even pursue you. The beauty of giving space is that it builds an emotional dynamic that sparks curiosity and excitement. These are the things that keep relationships fresh and exciting, even as they grow deeper over time. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you found yourself more intrigued by someone who didn't give you all their attention right away? Or maybe they weren't texting you back immediately, leaving you to wonder what they were doing. That element of mystery, the unpredictability of not always being available, creates an emotional space where curiosity thrives. Suddenly, you want to know more. You're more invested because there's something to uncover. The same thing happens in romantic relationships. The less you reveal of yourself, and the more you create that mystery, the more likely the other person will want to dig deeper to figure you out. It's this curiosity that fuels attraction. But hold on, let me be clear here. This doesn't mean playing mind games, acting distant, just to make the other person chase you, or purposely ignoring their messages. That's manipulation, and it's not what we're about here. Instead, it's about understanding how relationships work on a deeper level. It's about creating space to grow emotionally. This breathing room gives both you and the other person the chance to evaluate the connection without feeling overwhelmed by constant attention. It allows for reflection, helping both of you understand what you really want out of the relationship, and ultimately, it strengthens the bond you share. Now you're probably wondering, how exactly does this work? What are the steps you can take to create that space without causing harm or misunderstanding? Well, today I'm going to share with you 7 powerful tips that show exactly how creating space in a relationship can actually make you more attractive and how it can build a stronger, more fulfilling connection. From setting healthy boundaries to making sure the other person truly values your time and presence, these strategies are the secret to shifting the power dynamics and creating a healthier, more exciting relationship. So, if you're ready to learn how stepping back can actually pull you closer to the person you care about, make sure you stick around. I've got some game-changing insights for you. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's dive right in. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button if you're excited about learning how to create space and make your relationship even better. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video packed with relationship tips like this one. And if you've tried creating space before in a relationship, or if you have any thoughts or questions on the topic, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your experiences. Number 1, you become mysterious. Let's start with the most powerful element of creating space in a relationship, mystery. We've all heard the phrase, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and there's truth to it. When you're not always in front of someone, it creates a sense of curiosity and intrigue. They begin to wonder what you're doing, what you're thinking, and why you're not as readily available as you once were. That mystery draws them in, because humans are naturally attracted to the unknown. You see, when someone knows everything about you, when you're always texting them back immediately, always available for a chat or a date, you lose that sense of excitement and allure. Things become predictable. But when you pull back a little and give them space, it introduces a sense of unpredictability. They start wondering what you're up to and why you're not as eager to engage. Think about the early stages of dating. How exciting it was when you didn't know every little detail about the other person. There was an element of surprise, and you wanted to learn more. When you create space, you bring back that sense of discovery. The less they know about your every move, the more they want to know. This mysterious element keeps them intrigued and emotionally invested in you. For example, let's say you've been texting someone regularly and suddenly you stop replying right away or take a break from constant texting. At first, they might wonder if you're busy, but as time passes, curiosity kicks in. They begin to miss your messages and start thinking about you more. It's this intrigue that fuels attraction. The longer you keep them guessing, the more they want to keep you in their life. So instead of texting them back immediately or always being there, create a little space. Be a bit unpredictable. It doesn't mean ghosting them, but simply not making yourself so easily accessible. This draws them in and makes them more interested in you. Number 2, they'll start chasing you, not the other way around. One of the most transformative shifts that happens when you pull back in a relationship is the change in the dynamic between you and the other person. It's all about the balance of effort and attraction. When you're always available, constantly reaching out, planning dates or checking in, it can inadvertently shift the power dynamic. The other person may start to feel like they don't need to make much of an effort because they know you'll always be there. They know that you're the one who initiates, the one who keeps the connection alive. But when you create space, something powerful happens. This shift forces the other person to take on more of the responsibility for the relationship's progress. By stepping back and giving them the space to pursue you, you allow them to take the lead in the chase, making them more invested in the connection. People are naturally drawn to what's a little more elusive, to things that aren't always available on demand. The mystery, the lack of constant accessibility, sparks a desire to pursue. It makes you feel more valuable to them, more like something worth working for, rather than something that can be taken for granted. When you pull back, you signal that you're not just going to be there whenever they need you. You've established boundaries, and this shows that you have a life outside the relationship. This is one of the most attractive qualities you can have. Your independence and the fact that you're not relying on someone else to define your worth or fill your time. As a result, the other person begins to realize they need to step up if they want to keep you around. The pressure now falls on them to make an effort. And naturally, most people don't want to lose someone they care about. This makes them chase you. Take, for example, a scenario where you've been texting someone all the time. You've always been the one who starts the conversation, makes the first move, and reaches out. But then, one day, you decide to pull back. You don't text them first anymore. You allow them to reach out to you. At first, they might be confused. They may wonder why you're not texting them right away. This confusion can lead to curiosity. As time goes on, that curiosity grows, and they start to wonder, why aren't they texting me? What's going on with them? I want to know more. This is where the chase begins, As they begin to reach out to you more, make more of an effort, and try harder to make plans with you, the relationship feels more balanced. The effort is no longer one-sided. They're actively working to connect with you, and that's exciting for both of you. The tension of wanting to be close, but not always getting what you want, creates a sense of desire and anticipation. It gives the relationship an edge, a spark that keeps things fresh and interesting. This shift in dynamic also builds respect. When someone sees that you're not just there for their convenience, they realize they have to put in the effort to keep your attention. It helps them appreciate your presence more. The more they have to work for your time and affection, the more they start to value you as someone who isn't just easy to keep around. You're now someone worth pursuing, and this makes you even more attractive. Relationships where one person is always giving and the other is always receiving often fall into a pattern of imbalance and resentment. But when the effort is mutual, the connection grows deeper. It's a delicate balance. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In relationships, what lies beyond our control is how much the other person pursues us. But by controlling our own availability, we free ourselves from becoming too reliant on the constant validation of others. We are free to remain independent and give the other person the space to chase us, to invest, and to show that they truly care. This is the kind of balance that fosters mutual respect, appreciation, and attraction. In the end, when you pull back and let the other person chase, you're creating a healthier and more sustainable dynamic. Both of you will be more invested, and the relationship will feel more fulfilling because the efforts are balanced. You've gone from constantly giving to becoming someone worth pursuing, and this makes all the difference in creating a lasting and meaningful connection. Number 3. Their interest peaks when you're not always available. Have you ever found yourself taking someone for granted because they were always around? Maybe you stopped appreciating them as much because they were constantly available, ready to chat, meet up, or cater to your needs. It's something that happens when you're always there. People start to see your presence as normal, expected, even predictable. Over time, the excitement fades. The relationship starts to feel routine, and the emotional intensity begins to drop. This is where the power of creating space in a relationship comes into play. When you step back and aren't always available, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, the other person starts to miss you. They begin to feel the absence of your presence, which brings a sense of longing. Humans thrive on connection, but we also thrive on the anticipation of connection. When they can't count on you being available at the drop of a hat, it stirs their emotions in a way that constant presence never could. When you're always available to respond immediately to a text or show up whenever they call, it becomes the norm. The element of surprise and excitement starts to fade. But when you make it clear that you're not always just a call or a text away, something changes. That absence makes them think more about you. They start to realize, "Hey, I miss their company," or "I didn't realize how much I enjoy our time together until they weren't always available." And that's when their interest really peaks. Consider this. If you're always the first one to reach out, to make plans or to check in, over time, the other person might begin to expect this from you. They get used to you taking the initiative, and it starts to feel less special to them. But if you pull back and let them take the lead, suddenly your absence makes them reconsider things. They have to step up and show you that they care, that they value your time, and that they want to invest in the relationship. This shift makes your time together feel more valuable because they've had to work for it. The emotional intensity of the relationship begins to rise because it's no longer just about convenience. They have to make an effort, and this effort shows them that you're someone worth pursuing, someone who brings value to their life. This, in turn, boosts their attraction and interest in you. It's similar to what the Stoic philosopher Seneca said: "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." In relationships, the friction or distance, though it may initially feel uncomfortable, creates opportunities for growth and deeper appreciation. When someone has to work to maintain a connection with you, the relationship becomes stronger, more meaningful, and ultimately more rewarding. Absence, then, is not about creating distance for the sake of distance, but rather about giving both parties the space to truly appreciate each other. So, by not always being available, you allow the other person to realize your value and to see how much they truly miss you, which leads to a stronger, more fulfilling connection. The emotional investment increases, and the relationship becomes more balanced and exciting as a result. Number 4, they'll wonder why you're suddenly so independent. One of the most striking changes that occurs when you start pulling back in a relationship is that the other person begins to notice your independence. Initially, it might feel a little jarring for them, especially if they were used to having your constant attention. But this shift can be a game changer. When you start prioritizing your own life and needs, it can make you much more attractive. If you're always available, eager to please, and willing to rearrange your plans to accommodate someone else, it can quickly become expected. People may begin to take your attention for granted, assuming you don't have anything else going on. They might start thinking that you're always free because your world revolves around them. And while being supportive and attentive in a relationship is important, showing that you have a full, independent life outside of the relationship makes you seem more interesting, confident, and self-sufficient. When you begin to focus on your own goals, hobbies, friendships, and career, it's an attractive shift. You show that you're not reliant on someone else for your happiness or sense of self-worth. Instead of always saying yes to last-minute plans, you start to prioritize your own time. You might respond with, "I'm busy with work today," or "I already have plans with friends," without feeling guilty or apologizing. This conveys to them that your life is full and your time is valuable. You're not just sitting around waiting for them to reach out or entertain you. This independence sends a powerful signal that you have your own passions and interests, things that don't require their involvement. It helps shift the dynamic in the relationship, showing that you're not dependent on them for fulfillment. Over time, they may start to wonder why you're so independent and even feel like they need to win you over again. This creates a bit of mystery and excitement. They might find themselves thinking, "What's going on with them? They're so busy and self-assured." This new dynamic makes the relationship feel more meaningful and less transactional. It goes from being about convenience and availability to one where both people are equally invested and bringing something unique to the table. Their desire to be a part of your life increases because you've demonstrated that your time, attention, and presence are not guaranteed. Ultimately, the shift toward independence makes you more intriguing and desirable because you're not coming across as someone who is desperate for attention or approval. It's a subtle yet powerful way to create balance in the relationship and make it feel more fulfilling. Number 5. You go from always there to the prize. This point is all about a shift in the dynamic of the relationship, a subtle yet powerful change that can completely alter how you're perceived. When you're constantly available, always at someone's beck and call, it's easy to fall into the trap of being seen as just there. You become part of their routine, and they may start to take your presence for granted. But when you pull back, stop being so readily accessible and let them see that you're not always at their disposal, the power dynamic shifts. You go from being always there to becoming the prize they have to work to keep in their life. The moment you create space for yourself, you start to shift their perception of you. When you're consistently available, it can lead them to believe that your time and attention are easily obtained. Over time, they may start to see your presence as something expected rather than something precious. But when you pull away a bit, you suddenly stop being the one chasing after them or always making plans. You're no longer the one bending over backward to accommodate their schedule or needs. Instead, they begin to realize that your time, attention, and energy are valuable, and they'll need to work a little harder to keep you interested. This shift is powerful. It makes you seem more desirable because now your presence has value. When you start prioritizing your own needs, interests, and life, you communicate that you have a full life outside of the relationship, and that makes you more intriguing. When you step back and allow them to initiate more, you allow them to appreciate your attention and effort more deeply. By simply not being so accessible, you're showing them that you can't be taken for granted. For instance, if you're always the one texting first, always the one making plans, and constantly reaching out to them, it can start to feel like you're the one doing all the work. But when you create some distance, you allow them to chase you a bit. Instead of being the one to always take the first step, let them come to you. Let them put in the effort. Over time, they will start to value your attention more. They will realize that you have set a boundary, that you're not just waiting around for them to reach out, and that your time is something they need to work for. This subtle change makes you more of a challenge, and people naturally gravitate toward things they have to work for. It could be something as simple as letting them initiate the next conversation or allowing them to make the plans for the next date. When you stop constantly being available, you give them a reason to want to keep you around, because now they have to make an effort. They can't just assume you'll always be there, and that creates a sense of urgency in them to maintain the connection. It's not about playing games or pretending to be aloof. This is about showing that you have a strong sense of self-worth and independence. It's about setting healthy boundaries and prioritizing your own life and needs. When you stop giving so much of yourself away without being asked, the other person starts to realize how much you bring to the relationship, and their feelings of admiration and attraction grow. This shift in dynamics is key to creating a more balanced and fulfilling relationship. When you're always available, you risk losing the mystery and allure that originally drew them to you. But when you step back, you reignite that sense of mystery, and you go from being just there to someone who is worth pursuing and valuing. You've become a prize that they have to work to keep, which makes the relationship more meaningful and exciting for both parties. This newfound value they place on you is a direct result of you shifting from always being accessible to allowing them to put in the effort. Number 6, they'll test your boundaries. One of the most common things that happens when you create space in a relationship is that the other person will test your boundaries. They're not used to you being distant, and they might want to see how much you'll tolerate or how far they can push you. But this is actually a very healthy part of the process. By testing your boundaries, they're learning what you're willing to accept in the relationship and what you're not. And when you stand firm on your boundaries, whether it's about how much time you spend together, how often you communicate, or what kind of behavior you're willing to tolerate, they will start to respect you more. This is an important part of building a healthy relationship. It's not about being controlling or playing games, but rather about being clear on what you want and need from the connection. When you stick to your boundaries, they'll see you as someone who is strong, self-respecting, and confident, which only makes you more attractive. Number 7, they'll realize you're worth the effort. Creating space in a relationship is not only about making yourself less available, it's about showing the other person that you have value, and that maintaining your attention requires effort. When you consistently give too much of yourself, make all the plans, and are always there, it can lead the other person to take your presence for granted. But when you pull back and create some distance, it forces them to reevaluate their actions and reassess what you bring to the relationship. In this shift, the other person begins to understand that your time, energy, and attention are not automatic. They can no longer assume that you'll always be available for them, and this realization adds weight to your presence. By pulling back just a bit, you're signaling to them that you value your own time, and they need to make a conscious effort to keep you interested. This is a powerful reminder of your worth. Think about it. When someone doesn't have to work for your attention, they may lose appreciation for it. However, when they start to see that your presence is something they need to put effort into maintaining, they're more likely to treat you with more care and consideration. It's human nature. People value what they have to work for. When they realize they can't just coast along in the relationship, they'll start to make an effort to meet your needs, put in the time, and invest emotionally in the connection. For example, if you've been the one making all the plans or always being available, you may notice that once you stop doing this, they'll start initiating plans themselves. They'll want to spend time with you, make an effort to reach out, and possibly go out of their way to show you that you matter. This change in dynamic makes the relationship feel more balanced because both parties are actively participating in its growth. This effort from both sides is what makes a relationship truly meaningful. When both people are working to keep the connection alive, the bond grows stronger. It shows that both individuals are equally invested, which can lead to a deeper emotional connection. Without this effort, the relationship can feel one-sided or unbalanced, but once both people are contributing, the relationship takes on more significance and feels more fulfilling. Ultimately, when you create space, you're giving the other person the opportunity to prove that they value you and want to be with you, and when they realize that you're worth the effort, they'll work harder to nurture the relationship, making the connection stronger, more meaningful, and more lasting. So there you have it. These 7 tips show how creating space in a relationship doesn't just make you more attractive, it can make your relationship stronger and healthier. It's all about balance, letting the other person value your presence, miss you, and put in the effort to keep the connection strong. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more relationship advice. Leave a comment below and let me know how you plan to apply these strategies in your own life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.